So this is where the whole family hangs out when dolphins come. We're the Redneck Redcoats, and we're sailing SV, fresh to Soldy.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back at this. We were in a big mess together. But we found a way to choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together. To go on together. To go on together. To go on together.
So what are we doing?
We're going home.
Home being
The US. This is a big home. But no, there's reports of a hurricane coming. Should make landfall on the Naples/Tampa Bay area. Go across, pop out Canaveral. You're not ready to sail all the way to St. Augustine in one go. So we're going to Fort Pierce, waiting it out.
and then where's our ultimate destination?
We're going back to Oriental eventually.
North Carolina. So the weather looks all pretty back there, but that's not what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get away from this.
It's that one, and then there's this one over there.
We got a couple of buddy boats up there, but they're going to St. Augustine, so we're not making a whole crossing with them. They seem to be going further into the storm than we are. We are trying to avoid that at all costs.
So we're motoring. Met up with some friends, SV Turnabout. That was really cool to see them again and see what they'd been up to. So they're heading on to St. Augustine, and they've got a buddy boat going with them, so that's cool. We're still going to Fort Pierce, so we're currently doing like 5.5 knots, but as you can tell, motoring, there is no wind. It's kind of strange really, because we're surrounded by storm clouds on the horizon all the way around us, but the sun's out right in the middle of where we're at, but there's no wind. So we will actually get out Abaco's is kind of like it's got reef all around it, apart from the very top section, and boats transverse through there. So we will be transversing through that top section in about 5 hours time, and then into the Gulf Stream. Not sure what speed I'll do in the Gulf Stream. Coming over it was very it wasn't strong at all, so I'm wondering whether just this little bit higher up it's a lot weaker. But I also read a Chris Parker thing saying that it would be a lot weaker until after this weekend. So hopefully we'll get into Fort Pierce around 6 a.m. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. If we end up getting there a bit earlier, we'll just anchor out until we're ready to go in. We'll see. So yeah. Pretty pleasant. Wish we weren't motoring, wish we were sailing, but we can't have everything, so onwards and forwards. So our autopilot's just gone out. We were just changing, well, we were just adding some fuel. It's been doing really great all day, and now it won't go into auto. It says that the drive is stopped responding. So we're just trying to get past this little bit out into the open ocean. We're about 2.5 miles, so we're having a hand steer, which is going to suck if we have to do that all night. But I'm going to try, once we get past that part, I'm going to try and turn everything off and back on again.
So Steven was putting fuel in, and we heard kind of a thump, and then the autopilot started beeping saying it was off course, or the top flutter did, and the autopilot was in standby instead of auto, and it refuses to go back into autopilot. So we are not quite to the Gulf Stream yet, and we have a little bit of some reef that we have to thread through, and we have no autopilot to do it with. Steven is downstairs seeing if he can find out what's going on, but as of right now, we're just hand steering back to the US. Interesting times. I'm pretty sure that we went over this in the classes that we took, but in the 6 years that we had a power boat, and the 1 year of our little boat, and the 1 year of this boat, I've never had a need to use the compass. Not even sure if I remember how we were supposed to use the compass. But Steven has informed me that in order to reset the autopilot, that in about a half, maybe quarter of a mile, when we get out to the open ocean, he will turn off the computer and turn it back on. You know, the standard hard restart and see if it works again. But that means that I have no navigation, no map, no nothing, and I'm supposed to keep us on course with the compass. Not sure how well that's going to work, but I'm looking at it and I'm going to try. We'll see. What do you think caused the malfunction with the autopilot?
I think we moved everything to put the gasoline in. There was a chair. I think he pushed up against the steering wheel and stopped it from turning.
It got lodged between the steering wheel and the side of the boat, yeah.
And it caused it to go in error fault.
When it comes to boat life, if one thing isn't broken, I guarantee you that something else is. We barely managed to get our autopilot working again before the sail wouldn't roll in and out. Looks like we need to go in there and do some greasing of the parts, but for now, Steven had some spray-on stuff that worked. What you looking at up there?
Just the weather.
Well, I hope they miss it. if we were going to cross, today was the day to do it.
Yes.
So I can't imagine how bad it's going to be tomorrow. It's what it is. We got to get back to the U.S.
The rest of our trip from the Bahamas back to the U.S. was fairly uneventful. We had to fight the Gulf Stream a little bit, but it wasn't anything major. In fact, I was able to handle it by myself while Steven slept because it just happened to be my shift. We saw some lightning and thunder and stuff like that, but it was pretty much off in the distance. We got a few little sprinkles. It was nothing major. We made it back to Fort Pierce. We were pretty tired. One overnight sail tends to make us pretty tired. So we are really grateful to see our friend Eddie and then some of the marina staff there ready to help us get tied up. Once we got tied up, we just hung out for a few days and waited for some more bad weather to pass. Once the bad weather passed, we packed up and headed off on the next leg of our journey back to North Carolina.
So in next week's video, we leave Fort Pierce and head towards St. Augustine. We encounter the worst storm that we've ever been in.